This is Arkies in the Beltway, a look at national politics and the Arkansans influencing the discussions. I'm Alex Thomas, Washington correspondent for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, reporting from the nation's capital. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of March 3rd, 2024. Congress ended last week by passing another continuing resolution avoiding a government shutdown with a plan to stop this cycle of stopgap funding measures. Congressional leaders put forward a strategy to pass all 12 appropriations bills in March. Congress needs to pass the first batch of bills by Friday, with the goal of finishing work on the remaining measures by March 22nd. The Senate and House of Representatives have been on separate paths when it comes to handling Congress's annual appropriations work. Senate appropriators have passed all 12 bills, but there has been little progress in the full chamber. The House has passed more measures, but the Republican majority has struggled in advancing the remaining bills. Lawmakers know how much they can spend. Last June's debt ceiling deal between President Joe Biden and then Speaker Kevin McCarthy set spending levels, with hopes of Congress getting its appropriations work done before the current fiscal year started last October. That deal also included an incentive to act. Lawmakers need to pass all 12 bills by April 30th to avoid a 1% spending cut. Representative French Hill of Little Rock says Congress had the foundation and the time to get this done.
Then we squandered the fact that we got that done in June, and we're not able to get the appropriations bills done and completed before September 30th.
Hill approved the recent continuing resolution on Thursday, as did Representatives Rick Crawford of Jonesboro and Steve Womack of Rogers. Representative Bruce Westerman of Hot Springs voted against the stopgap measure. He has pushed for passing a continuing resolution through this September so Congress can work on next fiscal year's spending bills.
We're closing in on halfway through fiscal year 2024, and that's why I said we should have passed that back in November and started focusing on 2025 appropriations and doing the process better.
In the Senate, Senators John Boozman of Rogers and Tom Cotton of Little Rock supported the continuing resolution. Boozman and Womack serve as appropriators in their respective chambers. There is an expectation that the spending bills will address other policy priorities. Boozman and Womack have signed separate letters calling for action on renewing the United States agreements with the Marshall Islands, Micronesia, and Palau. Those compacts allow residents of those nations to live in the United States, including around 8,300 Marshallese who reside in Arkansas. Boozman speaking to the Democrat-Gazette.
We've got a lot of policy writers, we've got a lot of money for various things that concerns Arkansas, but also concerns, just the country in general.
Appropriators will not have much time to celebrate any success with work on the next batch of spending bills needing to begin. Hill did not dismiss the idea that Congress may have to rely on another continuing resolution in the fall, with lawmakers spending less time on the Hill this year thanks to the general election.
One may be confronted with a short-term continuing resolution at September 30th to a post-election lame duck session. That's always a consideration in a presidential election year.
Something not included in the appropriations bills, assistance for Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific. The Senate has already approved a separate supplemental. The House has yet to act. Another item needing congressional action, a new farm bill. Congress agreed to punt on passing legislation last fall as Agriculture Committee leaders continue talks on what to include in this package. The last farm bill went into effect in late 2018. The next farm bill, which will address rural development, agriculture, and nutrition assistance programs, is expected to cost $1.5 trillion over the next decade. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley says Congress cannot fail in addressing this responsibility.
I think we're missing a real good opportunity to make sure that farmers have the long view on agriculture policy by not having a 5-year farm bill, and just would like to emphasize the importance of getting that done yet this year.
Grassley speaking during a Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee hearing last Wednesday. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack appeared before lawmakers that afternoon. Senator Boozman serves as the committee's top Republican. He says getting the next farm bill done will require cooperation.
No one in the history of this committee has said that passing a farm bill is an easy lift. But it's something that this committee, with the help of previous administrations, has come together to accomplish time and time again.
Boozman telling the Democrat-Gazette after the hearing that Senate Republicans will release their vision of the next farm bill in the coming weeks. The senator from Rogers has voiced support for updating farm safety net programs, providing farmers with financial assistance in times of need. Democrats are worried Republicans will push changes affecting nutrition programs as well as climate funding. Senate Committee Chair Debbie Stabenow of Michigan recognized this showdown during a White House event last Tuesday, sitting next to Vilsack. She also acknowledged she may block the next farm bill if it includes limits to nutrition and climate-related programs.
So if that means we continue the policies of the 2018 Farm Bill, which were pretty good, if I do say so myself, then that's okay. That's okay with me, because we're not going to go backwards on feeding people, and we're not going to go backwards, by the way, on the climate conservation money that we also have there that is so critical and hitting farmers over the head every single day.
The current reauthorization will expire in September without further action. Changes with Republican leadership could affect Arkansas' status on Capitol Hill. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announcing he will step down as Republican leader in November. If there is an opening on the Senate Republican leadership team, Senator Cotton may be interested in filling that spot. A source telling the Democrat-Gazette that Cotton is considering a run for a leadership role, while other senators compete for McConnell's job. Representative Westerman leading colleagues on legislation affecting wildlife habitat management. The America's Wildlife Habitat Conservation Act would put $320 million annually toward grants for state-led restoration and management projects. Westerman says the legislation would empower states to utilize successful practices.
By strengthening relationships between states, tribes, private landowners, and the federal government, we can allow them to implement proactive habitat conservation that will make a difference where it counts. And that's on the ground across our abundant outdoors.
The funding is offset from existing programs. The House Natural Resources Committee will begin considering the bill this week. Westerman serves as the committee's chairman. Some important dates to note: Tuesday is Election Day in Arkansas. Representative Womack is the only member of the congressional delegation with a contested primary. State Senator Clint Penzo challenging Womack in the 3rd Congressional District. President Biden is scheduled to give his State of the Union address Thursday night. Alabama Senator Katie Britt will deliver the Republican response. And that'll do it for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of March 3rd, 2024. You can stay up to date with all news involving Arkansas at arkansasonline.com. You can get in touch with me on social media. My handle is at Alex House Thomas. Special thanks to the team down in Little Rock. I'm Alex Thomas, and this has been Arkies in the Beltway. Thanks for listening.